Yeah, you can be used as that as well. Well, welcome to class number 5. This class has gone really quickly. I've had a lot of fun. I hope you have as well. Again, we'll be doing a level 2, probably late January, early February, and all welcome to take that as well. Anyway, today I want to keep it open. Keep asking good questions. That really is what makes the class lively and dynamic. And that's how you learn, questioning and answering, seeing things the way, when I think about how many years I've played pool and how many years I've taught pool, it's kind of like everything comes second nature to me. Sometimes I assume people know things that they don't know. So that's why I really encourage you to ask questions throughout. It really is a good thing. It's called the Socratic method. I was a philosophy teacher in another life, so we use that a lot. Anyway, today I want to do several things. I want to do a little bit more, if you have any questions about 8-ball or anything. Because next week we're going to have a little fun tournament. Don't worry about it. It's just a fun thing. You'll get maybe, we're going to play a short rack 8-ball. In other words, we're only going to use 9 balls. 4 stripes, 4 solids, and the 8. The reason why I want to do that is so you get a chance to play more people. And we'll also play the international rules. And I know those rules are fairly complicated, so I'll be walking around helping you out with those rules. And eventually, I think that'll be a good thing to learn those rules that way because, like I say, they are international and they're played that way all over the world. Okay? And I know most places you go, they have their own 8-ball rules that are maybe completely different. But that's okay too. It's just that that's one of the areas that pocket billiards has suffered over the years is they've had no central organization to really govern the game. So it's kind of gone off in a lot of different directions. Okay. All right, the break in 8-ball too is something I'd like to look at. How many of you, would you like me to talk a little bit more about that?
About what?
The break in 8-ball?
No, sure.
All right, let me get the rack here and I'll put it back up. Now, the reason why this is important, and under international rules, it's so important the way you rack it. And again, the 2 requirements are the 8 in the middle, and on the wings you have to have a stripe and a solid. So this is already a legal rack. Now, if you were in a tournament or a league right now, and you did it this way, your opponent might just say your rack is incorrect and you fix it. It's not a big deal, but that's the way it would work. And again, when you're racking the balls, and a lot of times in tournaments or leagues, they have something called a magic rack. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Okay. That's where the balls stick together almost because they're little holes in a plastic a template, I guess it's called. And that dummy proofs it because you can't really do a bad rack with that. But with a rack like this, again, you'll notice I push it forward and I'm using my thumbs to kind of go forward like that. And I'll put my head out here to make sure there's no gaps. And once I get it like this, I'll simply slide it forward like that and go straight up. And I've got a really nice rack.
So that's only 2 rules, the 8-ball and 2 wings.
Right, that's it.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and a lot of people will alternate stripe and solid. That's fine, but you don't have to do that. All right. All right, a couple of things to review. We've learned 2 breaks. Now, in international rules, remember what happens if you make the 8 on the break?
Respotted.
Respotted, okay. And actually, you also have an option to re-break if you don't like the way the balls, you break again. So that's not really to your advantage to break from the wing because that was the reason this break came about. Because when you hit the second ball really firm, a lot of the balls are going to bounce off the rail and kick the 8 in the side pocket or the corner. And under certain rules, that would be a win. Now, do you play that way, where you play?
Yes.
The 8 on the break
Yeah.
wins?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's not rule though.
Right, yeah. Now, the one break that I use in competition would be something near the center. I don't like to put it dead center, but just a little to the left, a little to the right. And the key thing, and I really want you to get this, is the flush hit on the ball. Because you're going to notice I'm not going to hit it that hard, but I'm going to hit that 12 flush as I can. So it kind of pops out, stops somewhere in the middle of the table. Because if you go off to the either side, the rack will lose all that energy. In other words, very little energy will be imparted to the rack of balls. Okay. And again, on these, the thing that you want to kind of as your mantra when you're breaking an 8-ball is the follow through. It's not like you want to force the follow through, but you want the cue to release all the way through. That's what creates power and speed of the cue ball. Now, believe it or not, the fastest breakers in the world can only break like 23, 24 miles an hour. Doesn't that sound like not very fast?
Yeah.
But that is fast. All right, just like any other shot, you want to chalk real good. You want to do your pre-shot routine, line it up, draw that line. I'm using my eyes, my right foot cue, step into it a little bit. Now on a break, you probably want a wider stance and your bridge a little further away from the ball because you're using a much more full stroke. Now I'm going to hit dead center of the ball. Now I really like that break. The only thing I didn't like is the cue ball came a little too far back. I would have preferred it stayed here, but I got shots all over the place. I made a ball, I got the one. Now, this is where the crux of 8-ball is. You know, choosing the correct group after a break. So I want you to kind of analyze the table now and tell me which would you like, stripes or solids? Because remember, you don't establish your group until you make a called shot.
I say stripes.
Stripes? Okay.
I'd say it's a toss-up. The solids look pretty good too, even the combo down there in the corner.
Okay, I got a nice easy shot on the 1, the 6 is open, the 5's open, the 2's a little bit tied up, but the 9 will go, and I've got a nice little combination there. Now if I look at stripes, I've got these 3 balls open, the 11 is tied up. Let's see if the 9 goes. You know, just barely got a half a pocket. The 12 is also less than a half a pocket. So I think if you could go either way, but I think I would take solids here. The reason being is because that 12 ball's in a bad place, so is the 11. And I like that combination down there to allow me to do a lot of things. Yeah. Anyway, that's the key. And I want to open it up to here. Any questions about the international rules of 8-ball? Or would you like me to go through the rack and talk about strategy and things like that?
That's great.
You'd rather do that?
Sure.
Okay, all right. All right. Well, you know, the duck is pretty easy, and I can get position on the 5. And one thing you try to do in 8-ball is clear the balls on one side of the table and then work on the next side. So I'm going to go call the 1 in the corner. And I wanted to go just far enough so I could make the 5. And actually, I going far enough where I could make the 7, which may not be a bad shot. But we'll go ahead and shoot the 5. Because I can shoot the 7 a little later. It goes through this gap.
So you think one half the table first. And,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
And going long distance back and forth.
Right.
Okay.
And I've always got this combination now. Now the 2 is going to be a problem. I'm going to have to do something with that. So we're just going to go ahead and shoot the 5. Notice I shot it over here so I could play the 6 and the 1. But you know what? I don't want to mess up the combination, so
Yeah.
I've got to
So what did you do on that? Did you put
stun. So it just went, it took the tangent line and slid over like that. All right. Now on this shot, I'm just going to roll this in real gently. And if I hit the 4, I might mess up that combination. That's not good. Now, would you shoot the 7 or the 2 in the side? Which do you think would be better?
7.
I think I'd go with, you got a bank shot on the 3, that might be a little harder.
Well, the reason why I would shoot the 2 is because the 7, look at the cue ball, it's going down here. If I make the 2 in the side, then I'll have a shot at the 3 or the 7. So let's try that. See if I can make it. See how that was much better? Now I've got a wide open shot at the 3. And all I have to do is roll it in. I should have perfect shape of the 7. Now, I've got the 7 in the corner. And all I have to do is stun the ball up here right behind the 8. So I'll hit it dead center. A nice little stun. And then I'll call the 8 in the side pocket. And that's generally how you do it. Now let's say, just for teaching's sake, let's say I made the 8 there in the corner and I scratched in here, well, that would be loss of the 8. But let's say I missed the 8 and scratched, and the 8's still on the table, then my opponent would have fallen and so there's a quick review of 8 ball, but we'll learn more next week when we have our little tournament. All right, one of the drills that I have in the handout is something called the L drill, and I know Nyla's very familiar with that. She's seen it several times. Now, you can start out, it can be as complicated or as simple as you want. You can start out with 3 balls, like this, and you can take ball in hand. And the idea here is to make it in around the horn, either direction. You want to start with the 6th and the 15 and the 9, and it teaches you how to control the cue ball. So what I want to do on this is I'm going to make the 6, try to get on this side of the 15 so I can get to the 9 next. And it'll teach you all kinds of different ways to hit the ball. So I'm a little bit on that side, so I'm in good shape. So
What did you do?
I put a little bit of right to make it come out to this side of the 15. Now all I have to do is stun over like that. I have an easy shot of the 9. Now 3 balls you'll find is not really that hard. So you can expand it if you want something more complicated. So you move the balls out a little bit like this. And this is called the 5-ball L drill. Now it gets more challenging, okay? And I encourage you to try this today. Now in the beginning, you can just take ball in hand and practice making the shots. But again, I'll try to do the same thing I did before, but I'm going to do it from the other side. All right? I'm going to go ahead and shoot the 14. 13, 11, 5, 2. You've got to make them in order. Now, if you hit a ball, or if you miss a ball, you have to start over. That's the penalty. So what I'm going to do here, and I might just use a little bit of left English here to get on the 13 like that, because I want to get to this side. Now I want to get on the 11 so I can get to the 5. So again, I'll hit it nice and easy, like that. I get on this side of the 11. See what the strategy is here? Now I've got a real easy shot on the 11 to get on the 5. All I have to do is roll it ball like that. And now I get a chance to do a little draw. Right? So you see what we're getting at there? You just draw, you follow, stun. You'll use everything that we've learned in the class. So this one I just need to draw back a little bit, not a big stroke. Like that. 1, 2. Anyway, have some fun with that. That's a neat drill.
Yeah.
And it can get as complicated as you want. I have if you're on my YouTube channel, I have all 15 balls. That way. So you can get as complicated or as simple as you want, but have fun with it, But every time you make a mistake, you got to reset the balls and right over it.
3 days later.
And I'll show you, maybe this is a little too advanced, but just so you know how challenging it can get, you put the 5 balls up at random, and what you have to do now is make them in rotation. So you got to go 3, 6 to the 9 to the 10 to the 15, and that makes it really tough.
Do you get the ball?
And you have to think about, well, where do I need to get on the 6 to get on the 9, that kind of thing. And then where do I need to get on the 9 to get on the 10? So it teaches you to think ahead. Which is a crucial part of pocket billiards is playing position. Any questions about that? Does that look like something that might help?
Challenges?
Yeah, okay. All right, good. I won't go any further than that. I'll let you have fun with that, and I'll come around and help you out. Okay?
Now on the 9-foot table.
Hey, there he is. Hey, Stephen.
On the 9.
There's some handouts right over there on the. Yeah. All right, let's go to combinations. All right, we're going to do a few of those. Now, I don't want to get you to stand in front of the camera, but if you could move over to that side, it would help. Because I want you to see the way these things are lined up. Yeah, that's perfect. All right. Now, the first type of combination that we're going to learn today is called a frozen combination. Now, I usually start out by aiming 2 balls frozen together right to the center of the pocket. Okay. Now, if you were playing a game of 8-ball with your friends back at where your home pool room or bar or wherever it is, would you think to yourself, "Well, I can't miss this shot"?
Oh yeah.
No, I get.
Yeah.
Look, see, it's directly dead center of the pocket, both balls frozen. But guess what? You can miss it, and you can miss it badly. All right? Let me show you what you can do. Now, if I hit the 15 ball flush, the 9 will go straight in the pocket with no problem. But try another way. Let's say that I want to get shape for a ball down here in the rail or something.
I'm sorry, what was that word used? Shape?
If I want to get position on the 6,
Position.
yeah, and I'm calling the 10. So I'm going to hit the ball on the right side of the 15. Watch what the 10 does. Did you see how it threw over drastically? So I missed it by a lot, didn't I? Now let me explain what happened here. When you have 2 frozen balls aiming in a pocket, if you hit the right side, it turns the 15 right to left, doesn't it? Which pushes and throws the 10 ball to the left. By the same token, if I hit the left side of the 15, it turns the 15 from left to right and throws the 10 to the right. Now these are crucial shots. When you're playing 8-ball, these come up all the time. And if you could see those shots, it makes pool a lot more fun. People are going to say, "Hey, what did he do there?" Now, the good news is that just knowing that information can help you when the balls are cockeyed. In other words, you'll notice that the 15 and the 10 now are aimed significantly to the left of the pocket. Look at how far it is to the left of the pocket, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
So that's really, you would think that doesn't go, right?
Right.
It's a simple shot. All I have to do is hit the left side of the 15, and you'll watch the 10 throw into the center of the pocket.
Wow.
See how I threw it to the right? Because I hit the left side, but I put it left to right and threw it to the right. All right? Fascinating. There's a lot of physics in this game. That's what makes pool such a great sport, you know. You could spend your whole lifetime learning stuff about colliding spheres. Any questions about that so far? All right. All right, another, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
You hit cue ball with left English, right?
Actually, the English doesn't really do much on a shot like
You
this.
just use...
It's where you hit that the
Okay.
first frozen ball.
Okay.
That's more important. English could have a minute microscopic effect, but not much.
Does speed have an effect on it?
Absolutely, good question. Because let me show you how speed affects it. Let me put the 3-6 kind of where it was before. Aim to the left side. Now this time I'm going to hit the left side of the 6, but I'm going to hit it very firm. Watch what happens. Well, it went into the pocket, but it went into the far left side. It didn't throw near as much. So what happens, what you need to know is the harder you hit it, the less throw you're going to get.
Wait, say it again?
The harder I hit the frozen combination, the less throw. In other words, I could make this 6 ball on a combination if I hit it nice and easy. But if I hit it hard, I don't think I can throw it that far. See, it almost didn't throw at all because I hit it so hard. But that same shot, if I hit it easy, boy, that's a lot. That's a lot of throw. That same shot, now that's pretty far over, right? Right, Mike?
Yeah.
But if I hit it nice and easy, I can still make it. See how far it threw when I hit it easy?
Wow.
All right. So speed is a big factor in shots.
It's good to know.
All right, the other thing about combinations that's real important is you got a third ball is always the one that dictates the 2 frozen balls. In the cases I've showed you so far, the cue ball is the third ball. But what happens if I have an intervening ball? And you'll notice the 11-9 is lined up to the left side of the pocket. So how do I hit the 15 in order to make the 9?
Hit the left side of the red.
Exactly. So in this case, the cue ball is my 15 to hit the left side, which will throw the 9. So it's still a very simple shot. So the third ball, and it doesn't matter, this is getting confusing sometimes. Let's say you've got something in 8-ball like this.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
What should be the distance from the pocket from this kind of deviation?
Okay,
from
the
both?
closer you are to the pocket, the less throw you're going to get. If I shoot it from way back here, that throw will be magnified. So I can aim the 2 and the 5 from this distance and throw it a great amount. Whereas when the 2 and the 5 are close to the pocket, I can only throw it a little bit.
But I mean from the pocket, what should be the distance? For example, if it is this way or this way?
Well, there's too many variables, Nyla. There is no formula for that. It depends on how hard you hit it, how much
In that
on the
position.
side you hit it, the speed you hit it,
In
the
that
clock.
position, is it possible?
Impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah, like this would be, that's impossible. That's possible. That's possible right there. just barely. Look at how far over that is. But if I hit it nice and soft with a nice half ball hit, I should be able to make this. Just barely. See how it just snuck in? But there's limits. You can only throw it a certain amount. I cannot give you a formula. It just doesn't exist because there's too many variables on a pool table. Speed, cloth, humidity, all that.
Okay, so if there are limits, and we're talking a long one,
Yeah.
is this a case where putting English on a cue ball may make a difference?
A slight bit, yeah. Let's say I'm way back here. I'll put the 2 and the 5. Well, how far over would you say that is? That's about 3 or 4 inches. Okay. I don't really need English, and it's not going to make that big of a difference.
Try to make it a little further.
Yeah. You want to make it further? Okay. Okay, that's maybe at the limit. I'm not sure that that's even makeable because you see it, it's game right there. Let's see how close that'll get.
On this one, you did a half ball hit.
Exactly.
Would it make a difference if you did a quarter ball hit?
The half ball hit is the best for throwing frozen combinations.
Okay.
So I would hit a half ball hit. I think I can get close, but I don't think it will go. So I'm going to try a half ball hit. See how far it will. Not quite. But look at how far it did throw. It was aimed here and ended up hitting there.
Now try it with English.
All right, I'm confused the difference between the half ball.
Okay.
Are you hitting it straight on half ball, or?
All right, let me explain what a half ball hit is. It's simply from where you're shooting. When you shoot at the 10 ball,
Okay.
you'll notice half the ball is to the right of the edge of the 10 and half the ball is to the left of the 10. That's a half ball hit.
Ah, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and there's no spin on the cue.
Well, Cliff's wanting to. Let me address that with you individually because I don't want to throw that out. That's very complicated about using English in combinations, and it makes very little difference anyway. So I'll address that to you personally. Okay. All right. Here's another one. Now this one is within the limits. I think this one will go, don't you? It's aimed a little bit closer, maybe?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. And again, I'll have to hit this nice and soft. And that one threw about 4 inches, would you say? Anyway, it was a lot of fun. Now, the other combinations, and this will be the last one we'll do, are simply shots like this where they're not frozen together. Simply all I do is I get behind the 7 and I visualize it as a cue ball. That's where I need to, there's my contact point to make the 2. So I get behind the 7 and I see exactly how I need to make the 2 and find my contact point. As I come back here, I'm keeping my eye on that contact point all the way. So I want to hit exactly that point to make the 2. That's how you do those. Those are just hard work to make those kind of combinations.
The contact point was right where you put the tip of your cue,
Okay.
or I mean, did you aim at the contact point with the cue ball?
No, you actually aim behind the contact
Yeah.
point because it's the ghost ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So if you aim at the contact point, you'll miss it every time.
All right.
But you need to figure out the contact point as your starting point. Like there's my contact to make this one. All right? But as I come back, I realize that the center of the ghost ball for that contact point is really right here, isn't it? And this one I have to cut pretty thin. See, that one was a tough one. I had to cut that rock. And again, combinations are renowned for being tough shots, kind of like banks. Next week we'll do a little on banks, but anything more on combos. You know, look for them. That's the main thing. And pool would get a lot more fun when you see those kind of shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Peter,
Yeah, go ahead.
not combination, but partially blocked. Partially blocked.
Partially blocked. Okay. All right. Let's say that I have this shot. You're talking about this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
All right, if you look real closely, I can't really make the 7 here, right? Because the edge of the 8's in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And what Nyla is saying, this would be an opportunity to use English. Because if I elevate the cue just slightly like this, I can make the cue ball curve. Watch how the cue ball will curve around the 8 and make the 7.
Just by
By angling down and using the left English, and flick it out this way and then curve it back. That's cool. Yeah. Now here's the other shot that Cliff just asked about, which is shot 2. Nyla knows this one real well too. She's seen it many times. This is a fun shot. And this one you're going to like, Cliff, because there's a way to measure it.
Yeah.
All right. The first thing you do is find the ghost ball to make the 10. The center of the ghost ball is right there, right? To make the 10. Contact point's right there, but the center of the ghost ball is there. You take the distance to the rail, and then you double it. It's called the mirror system. So here's the point. So I need to shoot. We use the chalk. This is illegal. You can't mark the table in the game. But I'll put the chalk there. So I've got the ghost ball to the rail and then doubling it to there. And I'm going to aim at that chalk just with a little bit of left English to make the 10. And again, speed, table, cloth, humidity, variables on all these shots.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do it again.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, there's more balls. They're down there. Show me.
All right, so here's what I want. All right, so this is where you had it.
Right.
Here's your ghost ball.
All right. Okay. The center of the ghost ball is the center of this ball here. And I go from the center of the ghost ball to the rail, and then I double it to there. So on this one, I would move the chalk right here. Yeah, that's good. And then of course we'll remove the ghost ball, right? So I aim at the chalk with just a little bit of left English. And it's a pretty accurate measuring system, but it's not easy. You get a feel, speed affects it a lot. If I hit it too hard, it'll come sharp off the rail. If I hit it easier, you'll hit the ball thicker.
Would you always need outside English?
The system is based on running English.
Okay.
And I know we haven't addressed that yet, but that's just cool.
That's next week.
Yeah.
All right, so if English refers to the right or the left,
Yeah.
midline, is there another way of describing if you're going above or below the midline?
With English or just?
No, just-
Oh, okay. Above the midline, we call follow. And that's when we want the cue ball to go forward. So if I'm going to raise my Q-tip, a full Q-tip above center, and as I stroke it, the cue ball rolls really quickly and goes forward. If I go below the midline, we call that drop. So in this shot, I'm hitting well below center. The cue ball is going to be spinning backwards when I hit the 5. Like that.
So you're talking cue stick thickness, not a whole bunch. The thickness of a cue stick above and below.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things you'll notice when you're doing that it's important not to elevate your cue too much. Because watch what happens if I hit it above center with an elevated cue. So I didn't follow at all. To make the ball roll forward, you got to keep a level cue. Notice how it's level and I stroke right through it smoothly. See how much different that is?
Do you ever get where you're doing combinations of, English right or left plus above or below?
With combinations?
Well, I don't know, just
No, the thing, this is real important. When you're shooting a combination, it's already a very difficult shot, right?
okay.
So you don't want to use English because you're not going to hit the ball as accurately as you should. What I showed you earlier is probably the best way to make a combination. Like if I'm shooting the 13 here, I get down on the 10, just imagine it's a cue ball. I see exactly the contact point. I go back to the middle of the ghost ball, swing back here, keeping my eye on that point. And you'll get real confident after a while to make it. And again, pocket speed is important. You notice I hit those easy. Because if you hit them hard, if it's off, these are diamond tables and they're tight. If you hit them hard, they don't go near as well. Well, all good questions. That's great.
All right. Tight, I don't understand.
Tight pockets just mean that the width of the pocket is tight. And it's easily missed because if you hit the point, like this shot, for example, is a good example. I played league for many years, and I see this shot missed over and over and over again, a simple shot like this. And that's because they're not going at the center of the pocket. They're shooting here instead of out here. This is where the center of the pocket is, not back there. Because if I shoot back there, the tin's going to hit there and wobble and stay out. In other words, that's the professional side of the pocket. This is the amateur side. One side you're going to miss if you hit it bad. The other side you're going to make it even if you hit it bad. Because if 10 hits there, it's going to go in, right? So knowing where the center of the pocket is kind of important.
I never thought about that.
Yeah. That's why you missed the first class, but we put these wooden sticks with a red line. The center of the pocket is always the center of the outer jaw, not the inner jaw. So it's always there. Even if I was shooting it like this, same thing. Only the amateur side now is which side of the pocket, which side is professional. Professional side is here, amateur side is there. I used to have a more meaner term to describe that, but I won't use that. But you can kind of see why that's the case. Because if I hit this point here, it's not going, not on a diamond table. If I hit over here, even if I hit it bad, let's see if I can show you what I mean. This one I'll try to hit just a little bit thick. Yeah, that was too thick. But I want to show you how it can hang up in the pocket. But if I hit it to the other side of the pocket, it'll be forgiven. Anyway, I remember when somebody taught me that, like 25 or 30 years ago, my game elevated almost immediately, just knowing where the pockets are. All right. Anything else? I think I had some game-winning shots. I think let me do one. Oh yeah, here's one. You'll like this. Since we did combinations today, this is a fun shot. Let's say you have solids and 8-ball, and you've got this shot. Okay, and the cue ball's here. Now to make the 5, How do I need to hit the 2? I'll put it back here and make it even harder. In other words, the 5 is going directly into the rail like there. To throw the 5 in the pocket, how do I make it? This is a game-winning shot. I've had this shot before.
You'd have to hit away on the the left side, your left side.
My left side?
Yeah.
Do you mean that, or do you mean the right side?
You have to hit it over here.
Since they're frozen, remember if I hit this side of the 2,
okay. So,
it turns that way and throws the 5 to the left. But if I hit this side, well, let me just show you what will happen. If I hit that side of the 2, see, it won't go. But there is a way to make this, okay? There is a way to make it.
I wonder if you bank it.
Exactly. Stephen got it. All I have to do is hit the rail first, hit this side of the 2, and the 5 will go directly in the pocket. It's actually a pretty easy shot. Okay.
that's pretty good.
All right. And that's a game-winning shot because knowledge will get you over the line in a situation like that.
Did you hit the rail first?
Yeah, that's the only way you can make it. And it hit the correct side of the ball to throw it in the pocket.
There's another variation of that, which is really easy if you,
Yeah,
well, lost this.
sure. Yeah, they're underneath. You get as many as you want.
If you're, okay, so what happens is that you can't, say you want to put this in, okay, and you're blocked. So what you can do is you can, if you're in a position, bank it here, just to tap it there. So,
In fact, you could do that the same way we
Yeah.
measured the other shot. You imagine the ghost ball would make the 8. Go there, go there. That's where you need to hit.
okay,
We get it.
show it to them.
All right.
This one's real easy.
Yeah, it's a rail first, and you almost don't even need to measure these. This one, I'm going to have to put a little spin on because it's kind of hard to get around there. See, I had to put a little right English and elevate so I can curve this a little bit. Yeah. In other words, when you hit the right side of the ball, it'll deflect a little bit to the left, but then all that angling down and punching on the right side will turn the ball with all this English and curve it back the other way. And the same with left. If I elevate with left, it's going to start out to the right, but then curve back. And that's why, you watch the pros on YouTube, things like that, you'll see them make shots that you didn't think were possible. And that's where English comes in. English is part of the game, but it's very complicated. And you need to master the center axis first before you start messing with English, because that'll really mess you up. Anything else? I think that's all I have for today. Have some fun today. Try the L drill, try some combos, play a game of 8-ball if you like. It's wide open. Next week is our last class, so we'll have our little tournament. And don't be intimidated by that. This is a fun thing. We'll get to play everybody once.
Last class next week?
Yeah.
Too bad you missed 4 of them.
Yeah, you were a latecomer for sure. And you got a choice today. You can play in the big tables. 2 of them are available there, or any of these 3 bar tables. Are we good? We good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's go.